My name is Joshua. I'm from Bangalore. The first time I took an Udampadi was on December 2021. So I'm somebody who's been trying for a Canadian study permit for a considerably long time. But I was rejected every single time. To be exact, I was rejected thrice. And on the other hand, I've also taken an Udampadi thrice with this very same reason. So my first rejection came on December 2021. I was actually very confident of getting my study permit because I had very high score in my IELTS and I was a distinction holder in my bachelor's. So I was very confident about getting it, but the moment I got a rejection, I was pretty distraught. I didn't know what to do. This is when my grandmother told me about Kreupasanam and she introduced me to what an Udampadi was. So since I was in Bangalore at that time, so I took an online Udampadi, and as you know, I followed it like any other novena. I only followed the prayers. I didn't do anything else. And very soon, in February, I got my second refusal. And this time I was I was actually very doubtful. I'm like, what happened? What did I do wrong? And then every time I see the retreat, Father would say, you can come here and take an Udampadi. And I was like, okay, I would actually come here, take an Udampadi, and maybe follow everything to the T. But so on August, right after I applied for my visa for the third time, I actually came here. It was pretty crowded at that time. So in August 2022, I actually took my second Udampadi, and that was when I was given around 30 papers. I was pretty ashamed, to give those papers. I was like, okay, why would I actually go and give this around? I thought, you know what, I will actually go and keep it in my church. But that very Tuesday, Father mentioned in the retreat that you're not supposed to leave it in church, but you're supposed to distribute it in person to every person that you meet. But so now I was actually in a rut because I didn't know what to do. And I used to attend evening mass. So what I did was, since it was dark, I would stand in a corner and I would try giving out papers to people. I would have given out a maximum of five papers, and that's it. And I had 25 papers remaining. But yes, I attended the retreat and I followed the prayers regularly. But again, within a month of me starting the second Udampadi, I got my third refusal. And at that time, I started questioning my faith. I'm like, why is this happening to me? Like, I'm trying to do everything from my end, yet I'm not able to, cross through. All my friends who've not done half of this have already gone through. And this was when I made up my mind. I was like, you know what, I will actually have a fourth and final try, but I will not take an Udampadi the fourth time. I will do any other prayer, but not an Udampadi. So after I applied for my university the fourth time, I actually looked at my table and I actually saw all those remaining papers. So I thought, why not give it a try and follow every single prerequisite that was given. So I actually took an online Udampadi for the third time, and I went out in broad daylight and I started distributing the papers, and I started telling people about what it was and what it meant to me and what it meant to a lot of people who came here. And the very next week, I actually got my visa approval. The very next week after I did all that, and while this was a materialistic gain, I do realize there was a spiritual gain in myself as well. Because I was somebody who used to pray, but who was not very devout in prayers. But through the Udampadis, I started attending Mass more regularly. I started attending confession at least once every 2 weeks. Earlier, I used to attend confession maybe like, let's just say, during Christmas and during Easter. But now, I was a lot more regular with my confessions. And one lesson I learned from the Udampadi is to, wait for God's plan to unfold. Because a lot of times we are very eager to have our way happen.
My name is Janvi. I come from Australia, Melbourne. Ever since I came to Kreupasanam, it has changed my life in many ways. My prayer life has increased, and all thanks to Kreupasanam Madhava. I was doing BCom in Australia, Bachelor's of Accounting, and on my third year, which is 2023, I did one exam for a subject called taxation. It was really, really hard. It was definite that I was going to fail because out of 20 questions, I only attended 4. And what I did was, before I started the exam, I took the Kreupasanam uppu and I put it everywhere. And I took the Kashrubam and I blessed each of the paper with the Kashrubam. This was after I took the Udumbadi, because I took the Udumbadi in December 2022. I did the exam in November 2023. And once I got my result in December, I came to know that I passed all of my subjects with distinction, which is a big miracle for me because I thought that I would fail that subject, and it was a big blessing from Mother Mary. And along with that, I got an admission into Chartered Accounting in Australia itself. So I'll be starting that in March. And my second intention was, we have a house in Ernakulam, and it was given to a fraud tenant. So it was really hard to get that house back because he said he wouldn't give it back. It took many months to get the house back, but we prayed a lot, and within 1 week itself, we got our house back from the fraud tenant. Madhava helped us from all the obstacles that were surrounding to get that house back, and we got that house back within 1 week. The third intention was that we have a commercial building in Ernakulam, and it's really hard to sell that during COVID time. It was really difficult for us to sell that commercial building. So it took many months, so like 3 months, between 3 months to like 8 months to sell that building. And it was really hard. So my dad and we traveled to India. And we came to Kreupasanam and we prayed. We cried our eyes out. We prayed a lot. We prayed the Kreupasanam novena every single morning and prayed the Bible. We read the Bible every single day. The Kashrubam, we used the salt as well. That really contributed to our blessing because we spread the uppa everywhere in our building. And within 2 weeks, our house got sold. And the fourth intention was my driving test. Before I took the Udumbadi, I had a big fear in driving. I couldn't drive by myself. I was really, really scared. I would always think, how can I drive by myself and how I would pass this driving test, because it's really hard to pass the driving test in Australia. Well, after taking the Udumbadi, I had a big confidence in me. Even though I was nervous, I knew Mother Mary would not leave me at all. I took the Udumbadi, the Kashrubam with me, and I took the newspaper also, and I kept it on the side while I was driving. After completing the driving test, my instructor told me that I passed my driving test with no mistakes, and my fear for driving has gone completely. I can confidently drive again. With no fear, with no tension. I can go anywhere I want. And my fifth intention was my brother. He was doing his Year 12 exams in November 2023. And before his results came out, we were really scared because he wanted to get into civil engineering in one of the top colleges in Melbourne. And we were worried he would not get that. He was really depressed. But we assured him that we should pray to Kreupasanam Madhava. We did the novena every single morning, and we prayed the novena at least 7 times a day. We would say it like 7 times a day and read the Bible every day, non-stop, and participate in the rosary and Achan's speech we would listen to. And every time before I go to work, in the car, I would always put the testimonies and I would listen to the testimonies. And when my brother's mark came, he got his admission into civil engineering in one of the top colleges in Melbourne. And my sixth intention was, we're building a house in Australia, and it's really hard because construction costs is very expensive there. So we were really worried how it would go, like financially. We wouldn't know how we would get the money and everything. But we prayed a lot. Like again, the Nercha was the uppa and the Kashrubam we used. We spread the uppa around the plot, the land, We would pray every single morning, and we saved 50 lakhs construction cost. And our house is almost done, and all thanks to Mother Mary and Jesus. I wouldn't step out the house without the Kashirubam, because it's part of my life now. And I would never stop praying to Mother Mary, because it's been a big blessing and change in my life. It also impacted my prayer life as well, because before I took the Udambadi, I was a bit lazy. I wouldn't go to church as often. I wouldn't really participate in evening prayer. But after taking the Udambadi, every single night, every single evening, I would say the rosary. And I would go to church more, and confession as well. And I would also listen to Achin's speech every Tuesday and participate in Aradhana. Still, even if my Udambadi is, even after the Sakshyam, I still plan to read the Bible every single morning and say the novena. I would not stop praying, because it's been a big blessing to me. I would still keep praying to Madhava. I would always listen to the testimonies and Achin's speech,